Strategies for retirement transitions are spin down on this week's edition of WealthWise. I'm Chuck Vickery with Elevate Wealth Advisory. Let's look at what this means. The goal for most people is to obtain financial independence. The purpose of this series is to show you exactly how to do that. When you design, build, and protect a plan, it requires an integrated approach across many different areas of life and finance. There are key moments in each one of these. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to take you from age 20 down the road to age 90. Before I do that, there are a few things that we need to focus on, what we can and cannot control. We have no control over the stock market. We have no control over the real estate market. We have no control over the bond market. We have no control over the United States government or any other government. We have no control over Mother Nature and her tornadoes, hurricanes, wildfires, and tsunamis. But there are things that we can control. We can control how much risk we take with our investments. We can control our portfolio's diversification. We can control the cost of our investments. We can control the taxes we pay, and we can control our behavior. As far as your investment returns go, your behavior is the single largest factor in determining your personal rate of return. People that stick with plans through thick and thin do much, much better than folks who are constantly making changes. Money is like soap. The more you touch it, the less of it you have. At Elevate Wealth, our mission is to give you the tools to confidently live your best life. What are those tools? It's not only software programs and sound investment strategy, but it's also making smart financial decisions. And that's what we will be covering. I want to talk about something that we've been working on called spin down. But to put it in terms that we can all understand, we call it strategies for retirement transitions. And there are 4 phases. The first phase is accumulation. Accumulation starts with your first job and your first paycheck, and it ends when you get your last paycheck. What we have found is that most Americans are stuck in accumulation. People don't even know there are other phases. Every magazine, newspaper, or book that you read about finances is about accumulation. People who are really, really good at saving during the accumulation period find that living off their money requires a totally different skill set. And we're going to talk about those needed skills. Let's create clarity where you have none. Let's show you how to create a monthly income and minimize your taxes. And believe it or not, if you're successful with your deferred investments, you may make it more difficult for you and your heirs. You pay much more in taxes, and Medicare costs go up, and you have reduced flexibility. Decisions you make at age 30 impact you at age 80. The next phase is transition. Transition starts when you earn your last paycheck, and it ends at age 72. In this phase, we preserve wealth while paying taxes. For many, this is the happiest time of their life. Many people just want to replace their paycheck. We don't want anything to feel different for you except that you don't have to go to work. We want your bank account to be the same as it's always been. And we want to make sure that a check goes into that bank account every month and you don't have to worry about it. But during this time, you have lots of options and some important decisions to make. And this is the phase where the magic happens, where you have a window of opportunity to fix things before you run out of options. The objective of transition is to design and develop a strategy that minimizes tax liability over the long run. Then comes distribution. Distribution starts at 72, and it goes for the remainder of your life. Here you fund and maintain your lifestyle, basically living off the resources that you have. A lot of people tell us they just want to live off the interest and the dividends and not spend their principal. You've been told defer, defer, defer your entire life. However, the federal government forces you to end deferral. Spend your money and pay more in taxes. That's why we often call this spin down. The final phase is legacy. Legacy, or end of life, is where we plan for your heirs and your charitable causes. Here we want the right person to get the right asset at the right time with the least amount of lost wealth. And while it is important, we don't just concentrate on investment consulting during these phases. We have family consulting, and this is where you want to use an opportunity to pass on your values to your heirs. We have wealth enhancement, which is saving money on taxes. We have wealth transfer, which is estate planning. We have insurances, and we want to make sure that your assets are not unjustly taken from you. And we have charitable giving. And anywhere you see a little sunburst on our screen, it's where we need to bring in a professional like a CPA or an attorney or an insurance agent. So we start our working years in accumulation, and that's where we build a foundation. And next is transition, and that's where we have lots of flexibility. And then comes distribution, where we have inflexibility and rules that we must follow. And then comes the end of life or legacy. And our heirs see how successful we've been with our planning. Over the next 4 weeks, we will discuss each of these 4 phases. So in conclusion, there are 4 things you can do with your money. You can spend it, you can give it to your heirs, you can give it to a charity, or you can give it to the government. That's it. That's all you can do. And over the next 4 weeks, we will be discussing how do you fund the lifestyle that you want to leave and lose the least amount of wealth over your lifetime and multiple generations. Thanks for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you next week.